So, greetings. My name is Mario. Greetings. I'm going to make a review on the Asus Zenfone 2. Right here, as you can see it, quite a beautiful phone. So let me give you some details. I bought this phone right here off of Amazon back in July, as it says right there. You purchased this item in July, so quite happy with it. And so you can see, like, there's a ton of things that the thing can, this phone can do. But I'm going to pretty much show you what is the main reason I wanted to get this phone for. First, like, there's the unlocked GSM phone with 4G Lte connectivity. Like, I don't know, like, normally my phone, like my S4, which is the phone that was getting replaced by the Asus, would only connect to 3G speeds. But once I got it, I was able to connect to 4G speeds without requesting any sort of change or anything like that. There is a very strong CPU running this thing, as well as a good GPU. Like, I think it was right here where they mentioned that it has an Intel quad-core Z3580 processor, and I guess this is like PowerVR would be the GPU, which well, I don't know, it's alright. I mean, it plays games fine. I don't really had a chance to use for much. I mean, I love gaming, but I don't game on a phone. It's not really my thing. I just get tired after a while looking at it, and the controls are just so difficult. So yeah, like the first phone that has 4 gigs of RAM. So this was the point. This was the reason I bought this phone. Like the S4 just kept crashing on me. Sometimes it would restart because of the amount of things I was doing at the time, and I would have to keep like killing every process, or at least canceling everything to free up memory all the time. And like I don't know, it had like the good IPS display. So yeah, but I mean, it's definitely a plus. But the reason I wanted it was definitely the 4 gigabytes of RAM that it came with. There's also a whole bunch of other stuff. Like if you look at the thing, it has a volume rocker on the back. It has a very has a power button on top here, and the headphone 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, and of course it normally works like that. You just tap it, it turns on. One of the features that it has, though, it has this fast charging ability. So like it just tells you like it'll be charged in 45 minutes, which is pretty good. I mean, that's what they go for nowadays, is showing you just how fast you can charge it, not really how much longer the battery is going to last. But the battery life on this phone is pretty good. I mean, I don't know, considering there's this option, like if you look at it here, let me bring it up. Power saver. It will tell you just like these options you have. If you want to run it on performance, it'll on standby, it'll last you 47 hours on normal, 63 hours on standby. Power saving, 126 hours on standby, and super saving, which is pretty much like almost all the features are disabled, and like no network is allowed anywhere, so it'll last a lot longer that way. And there's a lot more features in this thing. It has 2 GSM card slots, so if you want to have more than one number on top inside of this bad boy here, you can definitely have that. As well as the ability to expand to 64 gigs. This unit already comes with 64 gigs of internal memory, so the hard drive is pretty big. Like my S4 only had 64 gigs of RAM. I'm sorry, 64 gigs of storage, and it was actually quite. It just kept getting filled out. So it did have the ability to add 32 gigs of through an SD, or 64 gigs through an SD, which is, well, it's all right. But this one also does it as well. And with the internal memory that it already has, I haven't really had the need to store things in SD. So I'm pretty good, happy about that. So what about, like, what am I not happy with? The fact that the battery is pretty much like an iPhone battery. Like, it comes as part of the entire assembly. You have to, like, if you wanted to troubleshoot anything that had to do with power, you're out of luck, because the thing is integrated to the battery, which is what happened to me when I originally got the phone. And every time I would leave it charging, at some point it would just automatically turn off, which sucked. And at one point it requested to do the software update. I did it. Thing crashed on me. It did not come back up, and I had to contact Asus. Like here, you can probably see my screen right there, and right here is my request for an RMA. So like the people at Asus, like there's chat. Like I didn't want to call in since I live actually outside of the country. I don't live in the States, but I wanted this phone. I bought it and took it home took it back down to another country with me, which was a terrible idea, because trying to get it over to them, because they told me pretty much the only thing we can do is take the phone back and fix it for you. There's nothing else we can do. There's no battery. There's nothing that can be sent out. And I think this is a common practice with almost every phone right now. So I had to figure out a way to send the phone back since I'm not actually in the States. And that took some ingenuity. I had to find people that I could find that would be able to help me out to send this phone back. And they eventually did. It took about a month or so for me to be able to send it back. RMA was good for like 2 months, so there was no problem with that there. The only problem is it eventually came back, and I was so happy about that. So like I was upset the first time, of course, like so many people would be. But then I got the phone back, and then I was so happy. I like used it, put all my stuff in it, and then I normally would go to the gym with my S4, and I'm pretty. I'm ashamed to say that sometimes I drop my phone. It happens a lot, and but like with the S4, I've dropped it. Like I've been on a stair machine, and I dropped it from like the very top, and it would still be kicking. Like I've dropped this phone so much, you can probably look, like if I could show you the case, it would show like it's but it's like it's marks of war or whatever you want to call it. But this guy, I carried it with me. I went to the gym because I primarily work from my phone. I got all my work emails here, so a lot of the notifications for me to just be able to get to my home office, I'll get them through here. So I was carrying it with me. I was at the gym, and then like when I was there, I normally would have the headphones hooked on, and I would just I did a movement where I just knocked like the headphones off, and the phone fell down. It fell down from maybe roughly a distance of like going from well, not that much, like saying like going from this place down to this place. Poof. And it didn't even fall that hard. But the problem was that the phone was fine, except it would no longer read any SIM cards, even in the second slot. So no SIM card ability to be used. And that made me furious because I had only had the phone for about 2 weeks when this happened. And I had to send it back. Of course, I spoke with the Asus people, and they told me I had to send it back. One of the things that I didn't mention before is that at some point I got offered an option to request a new phone if I paid like $25 more, which I don't know. Looking back, I should probably have done it, because like the second time it went, it was too bad. But anyways, I got that offered, so I sent the phone back. I again had to find somebody else that was going to travel to the States and be able to give them that phone, which I don't know. Unfortunately, I have to depend on people, and that is also part of the frustration. Like the people that I depended on weren't very quick to get the phone out there, and eventually sent it out. It took me about 3 more months to be able to get this phone back. Up to the point, I bought the phone in July, and I had only used it for maybe about a month, my time, to be able to actually experience this, but too bad. Either way, I get the phone back, and now it's working pretty good. I've already had it with me since January, and we're already in March 14th. But now, it's starting to shut itself off. Whenever, though, I have it charging, I'll remove the power, and without notice, it didn't do it today, but without notice, it will shut off. At some point, it'll just automatically shut off, which was the behavior I got originally. Unfortunately, I'm afraid at this point that I might have to send it back again. So I'm not able to really trust Asus. So take this as a warning. Asus is this huge manufacturing company, and they make very good PC parts. They make laptops. They make a lot of things. But phones, like when this happened, I started searching through forums, and there were tons of people having the same issue. And they all know, like, they have to send the phone back because the head battery needs to be replaced. That's the only thing. That's what happened. Like on both of the packaging slips that I got, like normally there might be some detail as to what they might have done, but they didn't mention anything. I just know that the first time it more than likely replaced the battery, but I don't know, it's probably not also. But then the second time that I sent it back, they just fixed it. If they changed anything, I have no clue. And now that it's doing this again, I feel as though I might eventually have to send it back. So this is unfortunately a very low quality product that requires more careful attention. It's a top-notch phone if it didn't break. And unfortunately, it's too expensive for me to be able to just keep sending this thing back. And I was hoping for a better phone. So just like word to the wise, like if that's something that you're expecting, I mean, if you're in the States, I guess that's fine. But if you're anywhere else in the world, don't buy this fucking phone.